But some politicians find the denials almost laughable.
The folks in Washington are in denial about the Super NAFTA highway, or whatever you want to call it. It's the concept that there will be a highway, free trade, from Mexico through the central part of the United States all the way to Canada.
In Texas, planning and development is underway for what are officially called transportation corridors. The Trans-Texas Corridor, I-69, a combination of rail lines, utility lines, car and truck lanes, planned to be as wide as 3 football fields laid end to end. It will be financed by a private foreign company, most likely Spain's Centra, who will then own the lease on the road and the revenue generated by the tolls. Texas may use eminent domain to lay claim to some of the land needed to build it. For an imaginary road, there is a lot of money and effort involved and some very real opposition.
We don't want this corridor!
There's just no doubt that this is happening. We've been to the public hearings. We've seen the presentations. We've seen the documents. We've waded through them. And there's a whole lot more groups besides just ours. I mean, we've got Farm Bureau, Sierra Club, a whole host of groups from the left and the right.
In Kansas, a resolution opposing the superhighway overwhelmingly passed the State House.
The documentation is there, and some of it's been obtained through the Freedom of Information Act. So I think that when you read this, it is very hard to believe.
The lawmakers concerned about the impact of increased traffic flowing into Kansas City, where an intermodal center known as the Kansas City Smart Port is being developed to capitalize on the flow of goods from Mexico's port of Lázaro Cárdenas to the nation's heartland. The Smart Port website says it offers, quote, the heart of a rail corridor spanning coast to coast across the U.S. and extending from Canada to Mexico, a NAFTA railway. And what drives it all? Imports. The U.S. Business and Industry Council, a business group, says in the past 10 years, imports from and passing through Mexico rose by 326%, reaching almost $211 billion last year. And according to the Texas Department of Transportation, 3/4 of all the traffic from Mexico to the United States comes across the Texas border. And all that traffic, they say, needs to be accommodated somehow. And Lou, it's hard for an imaginary road to accommodate that much real traffic.
It's what happens when you have, let's say, so-called mainstream journalists in what I would call Napoleonic denial. They're laughable. They are so arrogant in their ignorance of these issues, and yet the little dilettantes step into it as if they know something. They think it's like their political reporting, that they can simply bring an impressionistic brush across the sweep and that will pass for facts. Good job. We'll keep reporting on the NAFTA superhighway so the little darlings can finally figure out what in the heck is going on in this country, should they want to. It's inconvenient to the orthodoxy and the establishment press, of course, as it is the establishment political parties who would love to see this accommodation take place, irrespective of the discomfort, the dislocation that it would cause American citizens and property owners. Thanks, Bill Tucker. Well, Congressman Ron Paul is the only presidential candidate who's come out against the NAFTA superhighway. In point of fact, he's the only candidate who even acknowledges it exists.
I'm not a fan. The idea that you're going to build a wall from Brownsville to El Paso, 1,200 miles, is a bit ludicrous to me. There are places in the urban areas that fencing works. I mean, you know, there are places that it works, but this cockamamie idea that you're going to build a wall from Brownsville to El Paso and somehow or another that's going to take care of all of our problems, both illegal immigration-wise and border security-wise, is just not reality. Then you can come up with a guest worker program. I mean, I'm a big believer that there are jobs that people from Mexico will do, that our economy needs, and those that basically say, you know, shut the border down and kick all those 12 million people out of here, and there's plenty of people that will fill those jobs. Sure beats however many billions of dollars they're talking about on a wall that wouldn't work. I mean, the information that we have is that there have been individuals who have crossed, and some that have been apprehended. that have ties back to the Al-Qaeda network. And look, it's easy to cross the border. I don't get confused that with the lack of manpower and the lack of resources that the federal government has made available, you can cross the border. And you can cross the border with enough frequency and with enough items to create a lot of havoc.
Rick Perry, Slick Rick, definite traitor to America. He's aiding and abetting the invasion of America nightly. 4,000 illegals will come into Texas tonight on Rick Perry's watch. And he's going to sleep like a baby in that $10,000 rent house. Slick Rick Perry is a traitor to America.
You are stealing land. You are using eminent domain to steal private property for your toll road.
Well, TTC.
Get to the Trans-Texas corridor.
Such a bunch of troublemakers. I asked Rick Perry, do you support the North American Union? And he looked down. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were Governor Perry, not George Bush.
Yeah. Do you support the North American Union?
I don't know the North American Union. Illegal aliens can do, but you will tomorrow morning because they're going to be in Texas. Thanks to Rick Perry. He will not secure our border. He will not uphold the laws of Texas or the United States. He's going to line his pockets with a bunch of money from Central and Mexico. Slick Rick Perry is an abject traitor to America. He broke his oath of office every day.
TXU has given him money to fast track these permits, and just give him enough money and he'll do most anything apparently.